So let's chat about this family that came over this weekend, Sunday, excuse me. And well, remember when my mom told me, "Hey Joe, somebody's sending you a package. I see it. You're getting a package." So I come back, guys. Which one of y'all sending me a package? They were sending me a package in secret, and one of those things is right there on the wall. That the one that is what do you call that stuff? That white sheet poster board, I guess. Yeah, that was one of the things in the package. A nice little thank you gift. They bought the side by side, ATV thing with crypto. They could have paid off their house if they wanted to. Decided, nope, let's wait. We think crypto's gonna be a lot higher, just like me and many of you. So cryptos, man, cryptos. So we're chatting over here. This guy and his wife, I believe, both have an ability. You know what I mean? For sure he does. And just some of the stories from her, it sounds like she's got something going on there too. But he's telling me stories when he was a kid, like kindergarten, telling people things. Imagine being in kindergarten. You're not even ready for that, but you're young. You don't even know that everyone else doesn't know these things. You're just saying what you need to say. But he says, he's like, you remember this? You remember Dabu and this one? And I'm like, yeah, I used to watch those guys. I don't watch them anymore, on YouTube. And that one, yeah, same thing. He's like, yeah, I don't watch them anymore. They're, he's like, but when you get started though, when you're first getting started, and you're waking up and you're watching all this stuff, and those were the guys, we watched it. I'm like, yeah, I know. Me, that was me. It's like, it's me exactly. He goes, well, I found you too. And he's like, when I saw you, I knew, like, I just saw it in my mind. I'm going to meet him. I need to meet him one day. We're going to meet. I can see it. First time I ever saw you on video, I knew we were going to meet sometime. I didn't know why or whatever, or even when. I'm like, really? The first time you, like, laid eyes on me, like, you saw me in the video. First time, I promise you. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. I'm like, well, here it is. 7 years later, it finally happened. He goes, yeah, and I've learned not to push it. Try to make, it happens when it happens. And right now, we were going to Fort Lauderdale, and I'm like, you know what? And hell, I was just down there with Michelle White Dove, right? He's like, but I want to come see you. So they stayed Sunday till Monday. I went into work a little late Monday today. And they went back there to finish their vacation. They're going back, they're up from Canada. So he's been doing some remote viewing. Very, very successfully, I might add. And I'm going to have to contact Dick Algar. Dick, listen, I know a guy. Seriously, I seriously know a guy. And I've had a few other people email me, which I've saved in an email. I may forward them too. But he was doing this other person's remote viewing, kind of like a training thing online he was doing. And he's like, I freaking nailed it. I nailed it. I drew it absolutely. So I sent it in. He's like, oh my God, that's exactly the target. Okay. So there's another test. Boom, nails it. So I'm going to tell you that story where that's leading to, kind of all in the mix of this. But I might as well, let me just go ahead and continue. They think there's a pyramid in a cave somewhere in North America. They're not sure where other than North America at the moment. I'm thinking Michelle White Dove. Let's do this. Michelle White Dove, I need you now. I need you now. More than this cave can say, I need you now. So there's an important cave. And he draws the cave. You got another hit, remote viewing. And inside this cave is a pyramid. And inside that is some kind of chair of ancient technology, whatever you want to call it. And it does all kinds of interesting things. And it wasn't him who picked up on it only. The other remote viewers who has no idea is working on this, got the same stuff. That's how remote viewing works. When you all got it, you can safely say this is it. You know what I mean? And it's going to be interesting as hell. So I'm like, I can already tell he's got some ability. And he's like, yeah, I used to kind of read palms when I was like a kid. I'd just touch and get near people's hands and, freak out a few people. I'm like, it's go time. Let's do this right now. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, let's go. He's like, oh, no, I haven't done it in a long time. I'm like, you got this. You got this. Let's do this. So I'm sitting down. We're in the crypto cave. He's there. His wife's there. My wife's there. It's me. I'm like, let's come on. Let's do this. You can do this. All right, let's go. So he holds my hand. First thing he says, he's like, when I saw you, I was on the Apocalypse trike, little recumbent bike with a little electric motor. When they pulled up in the driveway, I was just about to go. I was testing some little thing on the steering. And he said, man, I saw like your aura, you, whatever, man, you're bright. Like, whoa, you got a bright light coming out of you. And he goes, and then I saw your daughter, your youngest one, Ashley. Oh my God, she just blew you away. And I'm like, well, that's funny because Michelle White Dove said, and I didn't tell anybody this, Michelle White Dove picked up on Ashley immediately upon stepping outside of her back patio and seeing all of us. Oh, and she's like, yep, no, that one putting over to Ashley. Oop. All right. I didn't tell anybody that story. And he's kind of picking up on some of this. So I thought that was kind of, pretty cool. And I'm like thinking someone's outside. I see like little shadows going, but it's so windy right now. Like the wind is blowing. That's just all those leaves hitting up here. So anyways, we're on the ground and here literally right over here on the floor. And he's like, yeah, I don't need to touch your hands. Give me a few inches away. That's good. He's like, like sometimes he's like, sometimes you can touch it and I can feel your energy, but yours is like strong. Like I don't need to touch you. I can pick up on it. So I'm like, okay. And he starts telling me some things. I'm like, okay, he wouldn't have known that. He got it right. He wouldn't have known that either. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, before we even got to that point, I'm like, you guys, would you guys want a reading? Can I call my mom over here? Would you guys mind getting a reading? Would you like a reading? Oh, sure. What the hell? Mom, text, Mom, what are you doing right now? Can you come over for reading? I will pay you myself. I'll pay you. Yeah, I can come over. Give me a few minutes. I'll get ready. All right. She's on the way, guys. Love it. And of course, they end up paying her. I'm like, no, Mom, I said I am paying you. Oh, well, I didn't know, that's fine. So I just end up taking them out to dinner and breakfast the next day, I didn't want them paying. I'm not going to tell my mom to come over and force you, into paying her. No, it's not how it's supposed to go. But anyway, so he's reading me. And again, he's picking up on some things. I know he wouldn't just know. And one of the things he says, because he's in crypto, he knows I am, of course. And he's like, man, Joe, he's like, first of all, and he said, I already know this because you've already said you're moving. You said your mom, and I know that. So I know I already know that. He goes, but you're moving. I actually see a bigger house than this. Bigger house. I'm like, I don't need a bigger house. I just want a single story, actually, is what we'd like to get. He goes, no, I'm telling you. He says, well, as soon as I got here, the energy, I already knew. He's like, again, I know your mom already knew the story, so technically I already knew this. He's like, but this isn't your place. This isn't it. This is temporary. I can feel it. One thing was Michelle White Dove told my wife when I was sitting right next to her. She looks over to Evelyn. I don't think you guys are done yet. What do you mean? I see a kid. Did she say a boy or did she just say a kid? Do you remember?
Okay. She said, she asked that, are we done? She asked, are we done? This is it. This is all we're having.
Yeah, she asked, is this it or is this, are you guys done? You guys planning on having more kids? And we're like, yeah,
no, we're like,
not
we're
enough.
done.
We're done. She's like,
no,
not quite.
I see another kid.
See another kid. So we were like, wow, we're really thinking, no, maybe are we going to do foster care again or something,
And
And she said, well, it could be that, if I see another kid, it could be that. But she's like, yeah, okay. So then his name is Jean-Claude from Canada. Jean-Claude. I always think of Jean-Philippe from Chef Ramsay. Jean-Philippe! Jean-Philippe! Yes, Chef. Open Hell's Kitchen. Jean-Claude, give me a reading. They're so nice. Let me tell you something. Anyway, so he looks over at Evelyn. I see a kid next to you. Now, did he say a boy or just a kid too?
He just said.
Another
He
child,
said
right?
he sees it too.
Yeah, he
He
says,
says,
I see another child. He's like, it's right
He
next.
said,
It's
your
like,
family's not complete.
your family's not complete. There's one right there. And we're like,
But he said what clicked for me is he said he can't tell the past.
yeah, what clicked
or
for her
future.
was he said, I, I can't tell if it was past or future. I just see this energy right next to her. And she goes, oh my gosh, I did actually have a miscarriage before her and I got married, like before I even knew her. 12 weeks or something, 9 weeks?
Yeah.
9 weeks. So he goes, well, I can't, I honestly cannot differentiate. I don't know. So we thought, okay, when you have your reading with Michelle White Dove, now you can ask her more specifically because now you know, would that count? Just out of curiosity. So he's, we're to talk for a minute. Then he's like, all right. So he's like, look, he's like, Joe, I know you're into cryptos and all that stuff. And, obviously I'll follow you. He's like, but he's like, I'm telling you, I can tell you right now, this, you try to, we all do it. We add up our cryptos. What am I going to be worth in the future? Possibly if this coin goes to that. I mean, tell me you guys don't do that. Of course we do. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I got my numbers that I think, which are honestly pretty like high. Like, even though I think it could happen, like it's still like high, like ridiculous. Like, come on. But yeah, think about it. I'm like, yeah, so I've run the numbers, the stuff I have. And he's like, you're not even going to be right. It's going to be a lot more than you think. He's like, I can see it right now. This will be even more than you think. I said, well, if that's what you see for me, then you're going for the ride too. All of us are. We're all going for it. He's like, I know. That's why we like cryptos. He's like, but I'm telling you for you, you. And he had like a dream last night when he was sleeping in the RV. He's like, usually I have a pen and paper right next to my bed because something will hit me. Boom. And I got to write it down because I'll forget it if I don't. And he's like, I was in your RV and I didn't have a paper and pen next to me. So I was like, oh, I'll try to remember it. He's like, so breakfast here, I can't remember what I wanted to tell you. It was something else for you though. And I'm like, all right, well, if you let me know later if you, you figure it out. So my mom comes and, all right, give him a reading. His wife and him. And I'm listening a little bit, and he already told me a few things about him and stuff. So I already heard her picking up on some stuff, a couple of things. So I'm like, oh, here we go. And she says to him, I kid you not, she writes down on the paper, I don't know what this is, okay? Not sure what this is, but I'm going to write it anyways. And she's even writing out, I don't know what this is, like writing that too. And she's like, I see you in a cave. I see you in a cave. And he's like, oh my God. The remote viewing thing that I drew, that did be this cave. So if she sees me in the cave, does that mean we found the damn thing? I'm like, maybe. And on that note, you ever get any information on that, you call me immediately. We're going on vacation. Matter of fact, by that time, I might not even have a job. I might be out, done with working. Let's go. Let's go all the way. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm thinking, man, all these future journeys and maybe explorations and all kinds of stuff. Like, damn, man, maybe, Oh, and that's the other thing. He's like, Joe, I'm seeing this like clear as day. Basically, he's like, you will not be working at your job too much longer. You got other things to be doing. I'm just telling you, you're gone. It's like, he's like, the way I can describe it is you're here. It just fades away pretty quickly. Just gone. Fades away. It's like, that's how I can see that. Your job, not in a bad way. Just, guys, I love you. Thanks for working with me. Let me work from home Thursday and Friday. But, and I don't know how long out though. A year or 2 years, I don't even know. But he just said, yeah, I don't think it'll be too much longer. So, to be honest with you, I don't know if that's a year or 2 years. But it is what it is, and I'll do whatever I need to do to make sure my job's taken care of and everything, Because they're good people over there. But, so I'm hearing some stuff, and he's like, and I didn't hear all of it. So he's like, we went and ate and stuff, and he's like, man, oh man, God, did she get some stuff right? Holy cow, Yes, it was wonderful, his wife. So I'm like, sweet, man. I was like, you guys got the gift too, but someone else has it and comes and gives you, it's like, isn't that cool? It's neat. And so he starts talking about, he's like, you ever, the guy James Gilliland, I think's his name? I said, yeah, I remember videos from like 10, 12 years ago, his little ranch out by the mountain. He's like, yes. He's like, dude, we were just there in October. We took a vacation over there. I think it was just his husband and wife, though. Yeah, it was just them two. He says, I get there, and there's kind of this lady who kind of walks the property, and she's psychic. She like walk up to people and just start blah 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 like about you, blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, there'll be maybe some weird people that show up, because again, this is woo woo stuff. You might think they're weird, they're not like us, but in all, in reality, no one's really weird. And but he had a wonderful time there. It was great. And he says, we get there, and there's some Korean women, like a group of them, or 3 or 4, whatever it was. And they like come running towards him, like, master, so and so. He's like, what the? Huh? Me? Like me? Now he does Reiki, right? Reiki healing and stuff, or not healing per se, but just Reiki. And they said, and I guess it came out through them talking to some of the people at the ranch or whatever, but maybe it was James Gillen himself had said, they knew you were coming. In like an old soul or old past life, you were Grandmaster, whatever that they see you as today. That was you. They knew you were coming today without anyone knowing. So he's like, what the? And then he's like, it was kind of creepy at first because they're like following me around, and I feel like, no, it's not me. It's not me. No, 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 no. And they're like, no, yes, it is. No, it's not me. You stop following me. He was a little weirded out at first, but then he kind of realized, whoa, wait a minute. And, again, it's just like universe puts all these people on these paths. And I'm thinking right now, in the last 3 weeks, the people specifically who I have met face to face, even though Dick Algar was face to face through Skype and doing the interview, and then Michelle White Dove face to face, and then these guys come over this past weekend face to face. He tells me, 7 years ago, I knew I was going to meet you. Out of everybody I ever watched on YouTube, as soon as I saw you, I knew it. I'm going to be seeing, I'll see that guy. I can already see it. No idea. And Cliff. He says, I saw Cliff too. And I said, well, we're fixing to make that happen because we're going back to James Gilliland's ranch like as soon as possible. We're taking some vacation and we're going to go over there. And you're going to coordinate with us and we will go there. And while we're there, since it's in Oregon, I believe, we can also head over to Cliff High up in Washington. We must meet him. For sure. And remember when I said to you guys, and I was talking with Cliff High live, and Cliff High goes, the mail's here. And it was the package. Remember that they sent me a package? My mom picked up on it. Said, someone's sending you a package. That was them. They also sent an almost identical package to Cliff High. At the same exact time. Both, and I told you this when it happened, both packages got, quote unquote, lost in the mail. Should have been here Thursday. Ended up showing up Saturday. He got his Saturday because that was when I was talking to him. Live. He gets his. Mine doesn't come because mine was going to my job. And it tried to be delivered. We're closed on Saturday, so it didn't matter. I would have gotten it too. So both packages mysteriously missing from shipping, lost in shipping, and then they mysteriously show up. Imagine that. Again, all coincidence, I'm sure. And then I'm over at Michelle White Dove's house. The second I'm ready to send them their theta token, here it goes, internet goes down. Working fine for hours. All right, I'm ready to send you guys token. You got your laptop? All right, here we go. Oh, wait, internet just quit. Restart the damn router and stuff. Okay, it came back up. That happened. The wedding? Oh, so he does like DJ stuff sometimes, and they don't do like photography or videography or anything. Like extremely rare if they do. And he says not that long ago, he's telling his wife, we got that wedding coming up. Bring the camera equipment. She's like, why? I got to film it. Like that's part of our gig? No, I just need to film this. Okay, so They filming, and she's like, when he got there, from the moment we got there, he was like almost in a panic to keep filming. And they say, when you film, usually you're watching the bride. The camera's on the bride. Yeah, there's the husband, but it's the bride. You know what I mean? And she's like, it was the opposite. He's following the groom around everywhere. And he's just not consciously thinking about it. He's just doing it. And he's like, they're like, usually do 2, 3, a couple hours. She's like, yeah, 8 hours, like insane amount of, how much? 7 hours of film. And he said he kept hearing a voice. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. So he's like, I just knew it. So he does it. The guy dies. What, a few weeks later? The wife, contacts him. Thank him for the video, because it was the last video, pictures, anything she got of her husband. Oh, okay. So he filmed it not because the lady told him, hey, can you film this? He just knew inside, I gotta film this. Okay. So he filmed it, brought it home, whatever. The lady contacted him to ask, did he happen to have anything, And, well, my husband passed. I hate to say this, a few weeks later, and it would be the only thing I have of him, recently. And he's like, oh yeah, I did film it. And then they realized, yeah, you got 7 hours mostly of the husband running around everywhere. Playing with the kids, everything. So he's like, that was kind of psychically him, the husband, telling me in advance to do this. He's like, that's why I finally realized how it happened. He was screaming at me psychically, do this because I won't be around much longer. It's just unbelievable. I mean, the guy is gifted. And he's, told me a few other stories, as well. And but he's like, man, when I got there to James's property, and when I left, we got home. He's like, I felt like we were on a roller coaster for a week, and I was like dizzy, almost like the energy was insane. He's like, one night, it got so black, it got so dark inside, like I couldn't even see nothing. Like, even though it's dark, you can still see a little bit. He's like, but it got so dark, I couldn't see nothing, and it was just really weird, and this weird feeling. We're like, what the hell? Why is it so dark in here? Well, they found out later on that night, allegedly, anyways, we'll say that something was above the house, over at James's property. And he's like, oh, I believe it. He's like, there was lights flickering over there by the mountain, which we always see, and like this, it was above us and then back, just like that quick, boop boop, back to where it was, and all kinds of stuff like that. And he's like, even James does this thing with the table. It's like a psychic. What do you call that? You remember? And they can answer through the table, leaning a certain way or whatever. And he's like, he was like, you don't know what it is at first, but he's like, let me tell you something. It works. And just an incredible time. And just, he was telling me how like the ancient people there, talked about that mountain being like a portal to, whatever. I forgot what he said, but it was like all the old tribes and stuff, they'd go in there and get healed and come out and things like that. Just weird stories. And I'm sure you've seen some of James's videos online about these with the lights going crazy and all that stuff. So, anyways, I'm just like looking at all this stuff, thinking, what are the chances that I've met all these people in like 3 weeks? And I can tell there's something going on here that's like, magic. It's supposed to happen. And I have some kind of role here. I don't know what it is yet. But it could be just bringing everybody together and sharing it with everybody in the world on YouTube. I don't know. But I'm thinking, God help us all. If you guys can go, which they are, we go. Michelle White Dove, do you think can you guys come too, please? Let's all go to the ranch and see what happens. See what she can do too. Like, what are you picking up on? Talk to us, Michelle. All of you guys. Like, oh my God. So I haven't even asked her yet, but I would think I would like to. And see where that goes. But I just can think about some exciting things. And a lot of this is going to be done thanks to crypto. And it's not just one or two people that psychically have said, yeah, crypto it's going to be for the people. It's going to really help us. It's going to make the average person, it's going to make a lot of us anyways, average people, wealthy. We will do good stuff with this money. We're not like these rich bastards, the elite, who want all the money, all the power, and don't want to do anything with it. Keep us in debt, keep us slaves, right? We're trying to get out. Now, having said that, did you guys see Bitcoin Ben's video? I'm going to play it for you right now. Again, another guy who I've been talking with only very recently has an incredible experience caught on film. And I'm going to share it with you right now. Watch this.
Andrew Jackson was a crazy bad motherfucker, but he hated the central banks, and he killed the central banks. So, well, that's kind of weird. What the hell was that? My phone just Oval Office.
Watch it again.
It's a president. Oh, that hated the central banks. A little guy named Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was a crazy bad motherfucker, but he hated the central banks, and he killed the central banks. So, well, that's kind of weird.
You can actually see
My
like a ghostly eyeball over here. Like, I'm thinking, did Andrew Jackson just come back in right at that moment to say, high five, Bitcoin Ben, you nailed it. Cryptocurrencies, we're going to take these central bankers down. Is that what I just saw? It almost looked like an eyeball, almost where his eye was, where my mouse is. So let's watch that one more time.
that hated the central banks. A little guy named Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson was a crazy bad motherfucker, but he hated the central banks, and he killed the central banks. So, well, that's kind of weird.
Right there. I got that last
What the
minute.
hell was that? My phone just like
So again, and the other day, been on this property for how many months now? 5 or 6 months? 5 months, I guess, whatever it is. And I walk outside, I see a damn UFO thing powering up outside above the tree. I mean, it was way out there, don't get me wrong. Not like it was on my property, it was way out there. I see that. I'm meeting all these people. They're like psychic, they have abilities. Bitcoin Ben ain't no psychic, don't claim to be no psychic, but is a good guy on the good guy team, like me. Okay? And he mentions that about Andrew Jackson killing off the central bank because, again, he's a Bitcoin and a crypto guy. And you mean to tell me, and then all of a sudden that thing shows up on his camera? Like a fog? Come on. I'm just telling you, there is some stuff going on here. Ain't by chance. Can't possibly be by chance. I don't know what, again, I don't know what my role is here. But as Joe Dirt once said, I'm going to keep on keeping on to see where this goes. And I got a sneaky suspicion there'll be some exciting and extremely interesting times coming in the very near future. Because I'm just telling you, if what, for example, Jean-Claude said to me, Joe, you're not going to be at your job much longer. Believe me, I already got somebody in mind that can replace me. That'll do good with the database. But, I mean, we got time. Look, we got plenty of time. I'm not going to just leave him hanging. But should that day come, and again, maybe it's 2 or 3 years from now, I don't know. I'm thinking all these connections, all these things, I can only imagine some of the places I'm going to end up going to just because. Oh, you think you may have found the cave? Oh, we think we know where let's go on an expedition. J-Snip 4 style. Expedition, let's roll. RV or flight, what do y'all want to do? Let's roll. Why? Because we're Bitcoin rich. We're crypto rich, all of us. Who's paying this time? You guys want to pay? Put on the house? What do you want to do? We're going to put the money to good use. Plain and simple. And not just that stuff. Believe me, there's other plans for this. For some of this stuff, but I'm just thinking, where am I going to be going? And if I don't have a day job, I'd be YouTubing the hell out of everything. Oh, we're going to go over here and hunt for some old galleon treasure off the coast, Florida. Got a sneaky suspicion. Psychic Michelle helped me find, one of the lost galleons. I'm going to go over and check it out. I got a little team over here I'm going to meet up with. Hey, let's go look over and see if we can find the cave with the pyramid in it. I'm going to do that in a couple weeks from now. Are you kidding me? Some of that stuff could actually be a reality. Family, let's roll. We're going on a massive vacation. RV across the damn country. Why? Because we can. That's why. So, I'm just seeing some exciting stuff coming up. And I'll be YouTubing it all the way. YouTube all the way. Da-da-da. We're RVing again. My wife's giving me the stank face. That's probably my cue to stop doing that. Anyways, I want to share that whole story with you. And there's a whole lot more to come, I think, in the in the near future. Stuff like this, I can just see it. I can just feel it. There's gonna be some exciting stuff going on. Anyone scared about cryptos? Don't be. Just relax. Take care.